Hey, this is Kevin. This time I'm going to be showing the Renaissance Polish army. So from at the start of the 17th century, so 1630s to mid 1700s, Poland was really a powerhouse at the time. And they stretched over a large swath of territory. I really love this history. You know, their independence wrestled away from the Teutonic Knights, 1400s, and really becoming more and more independent. Their wars with the Muscovites, with the Turks, with the Ottomans, really kind of morphed them into the army that they were basically in the 17th century. But it was still composed mainly of cavalry until the major impact happened, which was Gustav Adolphus, his invasion of Prussia, with a very well-organized, well-trained Swedish army with superior firepower. The Poles really needed to change, and they moved more to a mercenary army at the time, but it really wasn't that justified. And this is where things really started to come into play. They reorganized, and ultimately Gustav Adolphus changed or adapted his battle tactics based on fighting the Poles. I'll go into a little bit more history towards the end of the video, but Vladislav reorganization, that was the king of Poland. So around 1632, somewhere around that time, really studied grand military tactics in the West and brought those back into Poland, changing the artillery, changing the foreign section of the army with more riders, German regiments, and really adapting the Polish army really for high mobility and firepower. So that's when things really started to get interesting, and that I think is really a fantastic part. These are your winged hussars, and really changing that to have more cavalry banners. Well, without much further ado, let's get into the video and what I've put together. And at the end, I'll add some more comments about the second half of the 17th century with the Poles. Well, hey, good evening. This is Kevin again. I didn't plan to put out my polls, Renaissance polls, quite yet, but I got challenged to do that by one of my favorite YouTubers, Von Ketteringham. He had mentioned going into another era, maybe having a new project, and he was thinking about doing something in the Renaissance. And I can tell you that is absolutely one of my favorite time periods. English Civil War is a lot of fun. I enjoy the continent, the 30 Years' War, and maybe some of the Eastern Renaissance conflicts before the 30 Years' War. I'm thinking of Gustav Adolphus fighting the Poles. But I promised that I would put it out there and show it. This is, of course, a little bit of a top view, but I think that it kind of gives you an idea of the size and scope. So what I'll do is I'll go in a little bit closer. As everybody knows, I'm not the best of cameramen here, but this is a Polish army, 17th century, so 1600s. I built it to fight the Turks, the Austrians, the Germans. I don't have a Muscovite army that's this size. I could put out pieces of it, but I really like this fighting the Swedes and the Brandenburgs and the Saxons and the Ottomans. I mean, those make some great games, and the Austrians too. That's really fantastic. But or the Imperials, I guess, at that particular time. But anyway, let's come down. Everybody wants to see the highlight of this. These are figures from Legio Heroica. You can't get them, I don't think, anymore. But I went 15 millimeter as always. I really enjoy 15 millimeter. I like the size and scope. But these are from Legio Heroica. They turned out exceptionally nice. These right here, these were the 4 different Hussar regiments, are from Essex. I think that the Essex figure is still one of my favorite, extremely well sculpted, and I like it. Here's another one, Legio Heroica, and then panning over, I go to another Legio Heroica. So I really like the figures. The Essex were the original ones. This army was built over a long period of time, to be honest. Kind of morphed it in and out, but I really enjoyed it. It's one of my very favorite armies, that's for sure. That's the commander. I don't remember anymore what his name was, but it really doesn't matter. I'll have to go back in and take a look. But I've got basically 5 different commanders. This is another one riding a Legio Heroica steed. And then I have over here a Cossack allies, which I'll get to those pretty soon, but that's the 4th commander, or 3rd commander. This is the 4th commander. This is from Essex. But I think that the figure is still very, very nice. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's still very, very lovely. And then the 5th one is a Western contingent. Now, I can add to this. I can add and bring in more Western tercios from Brandenburg or Saxon or Germany, as need be, or from whomever as mercenaries. And then, there, of course, there's his cavalry command supporting the Poles. Very, very highly paid mercenaries, I can tell you that. But anyway, let me pan out and we'll go to some of the individual units. Okay, so we looked at the winged hussars. We'll go back here to some of my favorites. These are the Panzerni. Let's see if I can get them in a little bit better into focus. But these turned out extremely nice. These are also Legio Heroica. I have two units of them supporting the hussars. They would have been probably more than likely in front of the hussars, but they're painted to, I think, a pretty good standard. I mean, nobody would kick me out of their club room. That's for sure. And then we have some riders, pistol armored cavalry that would have supported the main effort. And then, of course, I have over here, I have more of your late 15th, early 16th century. These go all the way back. The Boyers, they were just timeless. They're not as heavy cavalry. I mean, they're still classified as heavy cavalry. I use them as auxiliaries here. But you still have to be careful of them on the battlefield. They're swift and hard punching. Don't carry any major weapons, to say no firearms. Then, of course, a little bit of light cavalry on the wings, lances, javelins, Serbian riders, just different people that supported. I mean, Poland at that time was a massive country. It was twice the size of its size today, had a very powerful, respected military. So you'll have a lot of different peoples supporting that. And they actually got stronger as time went on. I've got a small unit of dragoons, and then with the infantry, I have commanded shot. There's four units, so here's one. This one here is your traditional ones with the axe and the arquebusier. I mean, I really enjoyed that figure. That's an Essex figure, so that's kind of old school, but timeless in my opinion. Then there's another one here, also commanded shot, and tough to deal with. I mean, I guess they didn't need pike for support with those axes. And then your traditional Polish commanded shot. The Poles during this time wore a very traditional light or kind of a dark blue long coat over black pants and fur cap trimmed red. So that's what they wore. This is a little bit of a larger unit, strong pike, and of course the arquebus on the wings. And yeah, that's pretty nice. So then I got a couple more. I've got another pike block here, pike and shot on the wing. There's another one right here. And then another one here. And then last but not least, one more here. Now, look at that. Turn the pikes are running. Who would have guessed that? Anyway. So, artillery units, so four, two small ones here, two small ones there, and then of course then a little bit more medium heavy guns in the center. So then we have over here, I've got another unit of Panzerni on the wings. Very nice. They're old Essex figures, but I really like them. Also some Essex riders, some peasants. Every army has to have peasants, and half naked. That's part of the gig. And then of course over here, this is the Cossack wing. So the Cossacks were part of the Polish Empire at the time, and yeah, they oftentimes fought with the Poles on campaign, and sometimes they fought against them. So a little bit wishy-washy, but these figures are from Totentanz, very difficult to find these days. They painted up absolutely superbly. These are the last painted figures I did for the Poles, so I finished these last year. And yeah, they're just stunning, beautiful. And then more light cavalry, Cossack, and then little Cossack light cavalry in the back. Really fun to play with. Anyway, I think in mass, they're really a fun army. That's for sure. And I think that, it's different than playing with, a 30 Years' War army or the traditional. I mean, this has different cavalry types, light, medium, heavy, super heavy. You can bring in mercenaries like I did of Cossacks. You can bring in Muscovites, which that is a Muscovite kind of unit. You can bring in German allies. No, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I focused pretty much just on two companies, Essex and Legio Heroica. I think there's some others out there, but I think in 25 millimeter there's really stunning figures that are out there. These are just 15s, but I still think in all they are very nice, and they hold up well. I like the scope of it all. A lot of people say, you have such large armies, and I say, I do. I think my table is way too small. I need twice this size, but it's the room I have, and it's just nice as it is, I guess. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll put up another army here pretty soon. Maybe I'll put up the Ottomans. Yeah, take care. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm not a historian, but I do love history. And you try your best to understand and to remember all these different armies. But, of course, if I said anything wrong, I'm sure I'll get some comments. And I welcome them, by the way. This was put up for Fraser, so he could see. I wasn't quite ready to do this, but I thought, heck, why not? But I like it because it's very, this army has lots of different types. It has, your light cavalry, your medium heavy cavalry, the panzerni. It has the winged hussars. I mean, who wouldn't like that? You've got foreign infantry, and you've got your Polish-Hungarian infantry, dragoons, and just about everything, artillery. It's really a lot of fun. And I hope that you really enjoyed what I put up. There's quite a few pictures after this, but I think the famous Polish army was in 1680s, right? That was the Battle of Vienna, and under Sobieski's. No, that was the name of the commander. I forgot. Ha! General Sobieski. Anyway, what a great man. But I think that they said that while the Tsar keeps his lance, the Pole shall remain the master of the field. When the lance dies, so dies Poland's virtue. And that was by Fredo. So I really like this army, as you could tell. And of course, I always say this is my favorite army. I think I always say that every time I make a video. But this time I meant it. This time I really mean it. Anyway, Fraser, dude, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want some special pics, just let me know. But anyway, I put this one up for you, buddy. Thank you for all of your service to us wargamers and modelers and hobbyists and gamers. You're truly a great man. And I really enjoy your videos. And I aspire to do videos as good as you. And entertaining. But I have some work to do to get as good and as entertaining. Anyway, cheers, mate.